Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 5, Filter Elements by Parameter Values. So far, we've learned to read and modify parameters and even place new elements. Today's lesson is all about filtering elements, how to find only the elements you care about based on parameters like level, mark, or fire rating. This is essential for automating selection, quality control, and documentation. For the first part, let's filter elements by built-in parameter. I'm going to get all walls on a specific level. I have already placed Python script and I have imported all the libraries that we need for this script. For the first line, we need to get our level. So I'm going to name it target_level. And since we are importing an element from Revit to Dynamo, we need to unwrap it. Unwrap elements. As an input, let's give it input 0. Get back to the Dynamo and search for levels node, and we are going to set it to level 0. Let's wire it to input 0 and continue with the Python script. Now this is the actual coding here happens. I'm going to use if not target level, then as an output give me an empty list. Otherwise I'm going to define a variable and assign the ID of the level to it. So I'm going to name it target_level_ID, and I'm going to assign the ID to it. Target_level_ID. Now we need to get all walls by filtered element. I'm going to name it walls, and let's say filtered elements collector. Of course, in this document of class, as a class we are searching for wall and saying where element is not element type. Two elements. Now let's make an empty list. I'm going to name it filtered to store our walls in it. And now we are going to filter walls by their base constraints level. We are going to use for loop commands for wall in walls. We are actually using the parameter, right? I'm going to say prom wall dot get underscore parameter, and we are looking for a built-in parameter, built-in parameter dot. But how do we know the actual name of the parameter? Let's switch back to the Revit. If I select a wall here, the name of the parameter is base constraint, but we need the value of it. So for that reason, I have already installed Revit LookUp, and if I select my wall and select a Snoop selection, and if I scroll down to the parameters, here base constraint as a value is wall underscore base underscore constraint. So we need this one inside our Python code. Let's go back to the Python and here say wall underscore base underscore constraint. Alright, and now I'm going to use an if conditional, if prom and prom.storage type equals to a storage type of elements ID then I'm going to say wall level underscore ID. I'm defining another variable prom dot as element ID. And we say if that variable, which was wall level ID, equals to target underscore level underscore ID. In this case, in the filtered list, append all the walls. And as an output, we need our list, which was filtered. Now let's save and run. Line 23, let's see what was wrong here. If prom and prom dot storage type equals to, of course, here storage type dot elements ID. Now hit run again. As you can see, we have identified 5 walls on the level 0. For the second part, let's filter by custom parameter value. Let's work with doors. For example, for this type, I have already filled out fire rating by 60. As for this type, but for this one, I leave it with no value as for this one. So at the end of the Python, we need to get our two actually doors as a list. Let's switch back to Dynamo. I'm going to copy this Python. Let's edit it. I'm going to clear this to this line here. First of all, we need to collect all doors in the model. So I'm going to name it doors and use filtered element collector. Of course, in this document, and of category, because doors are loadable families. As a built-in category, was OST underscore doors, not this one, and we say where element is not element type, two elements. Let's make an empty list to store our doors, and we are going to filter doors with fire rating 60. We are going to use for loop command for door indoors. I'm going to name it prom door dot symbol dot lookup parameter which was fire rating, and I'm going to use if conditional if prom and prom dot storage type equals to storage type dot string, then another one we are going to say which is 60 from dot as a string equals to a string of 60. Then in the filtered list append doors. and as an output we need our filtered. So now we are expecting that the Python retrieves two doors that had fire rating parameter as 60. Let's save and run. In the line 17 and 16, let's see. We forgot Collins here, of course, and 18 tended blocks. Probably we forgot indentation here. Of course. Still we got error on line 10. Collector. Where element is not element type. Two elements. Let's see. As you can see, we retrieved two doors that had parameter 60. Now let's filter elements using start with or contains. Let's find rooms whose name starts with office. In our project, I have already placed two rooms. One of them I named it office. We are expecting in the end of the script, we retrieve one room in our list. So let's copy this one. Edit. This time we are going to filter our rooms. First of all, we need to get all the rooms. So I'm going to name these rooms filtered elements collector document of category built in category dot ost underscore rooms. Of course we don't need this font. Dot where elements is not element type dot to element. Right. We need an empty list to store our doors. So I'm going to name the list matched. And we use for loop command for room in rooms Collins name underscore param. I define a variable where I'm going to assign lookup parameter name to it. Room dot lookup parameter as a name. And we say if name underscore param, then in the name variable we retrieve name param as a string. And another condition, we say if name dot start with, which we are looking for office, this is a hard coding, then in the matched list append room. And as an output, of course, we need our list which was named matched. Now let's see. Alright, we've got an error here on line 10. Let's see. Filtered element collector of category, built-in category, ost rooms dot where element is not element type. Of course, all right, now awesome. Actually, we retrieved the room where the name of it was office. Now let's move on and filter elements by multiple criteria. Basically, in this part, I'm going to retrieve two windows based on their level and the criteria, other criteria, another parameter mark. For two of them, I assigned a value w dash, which starts with w dash. For this one and this one, and for the other two, I assigned it with p dash. So at the end of the script, we are expecting to retrieve these two windows. Now let's start. I'm going to copy this one because as an input we need a level for the first criteria, and let's edit it. So first of all, we need to collect all the windows. So I'm going to create a variable and filtered elements collector of category built-in category dot ost windows dot where element type is not element type. Dot to elements. As a variable, as an attribute, we don't need nothing here. And let's make empty list, and again we say for win in Windows, let's search for level ID. I'm going to create level ID and assign parameter. And it's the mark is a level is the built-in parameter. Built-in parameter. And basically the family is, the parameter name is family underscore level, of course not this one, let's clear this, underscore param. Dots as elements ID, and I'm going to name mark param and assign to it mark as a lookup parameter to the window, to our element. Lookup parameter, as an attribute we're looking mark parameter. And here I'm going to use a conditional. We say if level ID equals to target level ID and mark param then mark value assign it as a string actually we are retrieving it as a string and we use another conditional which was mark underscore value and mark underscore value dot starts with we said w dash and in the result list of course append our elements which we named it Windows. And as an output, we need result. And let's save and run. And line 12, filtered element collector of category built in dot ost underscore windows dot where element type is not element type to elements. Document of category built in category dot ost windows where element type is not element okay, didn't see that. Still we got error. Let's see, still on line 12. Interesting, where element type is not element type. Of course, it couldn't work. In line 17, instead here, level ID to the window, we get parameter, built-in parameter dot family underscore param as element ID. All right, now let's hit it. Now we were expecting to retrieve two windows with those criteria. First of all, the windows that we placed it on the level 0, and they had parameter value starting with W dash. Today we covered how to filter elements by level or parameter, use a string-based filtering, combine multiple conditions in a filter. Next up in lesson 6, we'll create new sheets and views, a big productivity boost for documentation workflows.